Jet plane headed up to the sky. Spread wings and the clouds getting high. We ain't hit a rave in a while, so take me back to London.
Yo, I do deals but I never get twanged. Moves that ain't never been planned. No goons that were never in gangs.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of A Day in the Life of a Sports Trader. I know it's been a while since I last posted. I think it's been 2 months, but I've been away. So those who've been following me for a while will know that this time of the year, December, January, I always leave the country and I go to Dubai for the favorable time zone and the climate. It makes a lot of sense for me because the cricket schedule moves to South Asia and Australia, New Zealand this time of the year. So instead of having to wake up at midnight and work, I get to wake up 6-7 o'clock and work a relatively normal timetable. But this time I went to Lahore in Punjab, Pakistan. So I was meant to stay there for a week just for a wedding, and I ended up staying there over 6 weeks. So I figured, you know, Dubai is expensive. You rent a place. I'm by myself and I'm working most of the time. So there's not really much time to do anything else. So I was staying with in-laws and yeah, they took good care of me. All my clothes cleaned and ironed, food 3 times a day. We had a driver. So yeah, I was living life out there. And they were great people. The hospitality out there is amazing, and the food is amazing, of course, as well. As you can see, I've kind of lost my jawline, put on a bit of weight, so I need to work off some of this timber. May do another video recording my weight loss journey over the next 60 days as I'm trying to hit the gym every day. Really let myself go a bit, so need to get back in shape. Anyway, so yeah, I was in Pakistan for 6 weeks, and it was my first time out there, and you know, you really feel like you're a world away. It's very different from the UK. Great weather there. It's chilly in the evenings. The only difference is the houses there are built to keep the heat out the house, whereas in the UK the houses are built to keep the heat in. So here it's unbearable during the summer. There it gets really hot, but during the winter the houses are still cold. So winters are arguably worse there, even though the weather's not as bad. Other than that, during the day it's perfect, and the food is amazing, the people are amazing, and we really explored a lot of Punjab. We went up north and went to neighbouring cities like Rawalpindi and Islamabad and Murray. And Pakistan is so vast, it's like a different country almost. When you go to different parts, the landscape is different, the climate's different, the people look different, especially when you go up to Murray in the mountain sort of region and you see wild mountain monkeys and whatnot. So it's a really beautiful place, and Lahore is steeped in history anyway. Everything right from the Mughals, so got to see a lot of the architecture, the Badshahi Mosque, the Lahore Fort, and a lot of the British influence across the state of Punjab as well. Went to the Wagah border. That was really fun when you see the closing of the gates between Pakistan and India and the little dance-off ceremony, march, whatever it is. So that was really cool. But yeah, you know, a little bit about myself actually. My family originally, my father, you know, he's from Pakistan. He wasn't born there. He was actually born in East Africa. So my father's mother is one of 9 siblings. She's the only one that left Pakistan and went to East Africa and then came to the UK. But my dad and his siblings, they never went back. So we kind of lost contact with his cousins and his mother's siblings and whatnot. So we still got some of their contact numbers. I think just during weddings and funerals they reach out or we reach out, but that's about it. None of us have actually met them. So, you know, I kind of made an effort to get their numbers and get their contact details, and I went out there to meet them in their village. So I got to find out about my family's history. So it's near Rawalpindi, so it's kind of difficult to get to from Lahore. It's like a 4-hour drive, and it's you know, it's a village basically. It's a totally different life. And I got to see where my grandmother was born, where she grew up, where her sisters live, and it's quite a closely knit community. They all still live there. They all still live together, and they still have the land. And I took a lot of videos and pictures, and it was really emotional for my family, just sending all the pictures and videos back, because my grandmother passed away a couple of years ago, and my dad and his siblings never really got to see where their own mother grew up. So I got to see it. I'm the first one of my generation and their generation to actually go back there and see it. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience, and I got to preserve some of my family history in that sense. So that was really cool. But yeah, other than that, I was going to go to Multan actually, which is another city in Punjab, to watch the cricket, the Pakistan-England game. But I figured that'd be a complete waste of time, because the pitches in Pakistan are so dead. There's like a wicket every 50 overs. It's no wonder that the stadiums were half empty, because it doesn't make for exciting cricket, which is not a good look, given that Test cricket's finally come back to Pakistan after 15 or so years, and England haven't played there in 20 odd years. And Pakistan did their routine collapse, at least one innings in each of the 3 matches, which is pretty embarrassing, to be honest. But that's not to take away from England, who played absolutely fantastic. And to get a 3-0 whitewash result away from home is testament to how much this new era of baseball cricket is working. These aggressive declarations, and I think they were scoring at 7 runs and over in one innings. I think it was in the first game. So yeah, fair play to England. It was a great result. But yeah, as much as I'd love to have gone, I was preoccupied with other things, and yeah, had a really good time, and back to reality now. Anyway, I got some footage which I didn't get to release before I left. It was a golf trade I made, and I know last time I said, so far I've uploaded some horse racing, I've done some cricket trading, and I promise I'll upload some golf trading related videos. So I recorded one video of me recording, I think, the final event of the DP World Tour. I think it was in November, end of November. So I'm going to upload that, and then in a few days time, at the end of the week, this week, there's a PGA Tour event in Hawaii, so I'm going to give that a go this Sunday and upload that as well. So yeah, enjoy, and let me know what you guys think. Alright, so I thought long and hard about how I'd go about recording a golf trade, since I don't think there's any videos or courses out there, and I play and watch the sport, so I have a rather good understanding of who the players are, how the markets respond to certain players, and when you should and shouldn't trade. So before we get started, let me tell you how I approach the golf markets. So first and foremost, I don't touch the market for the first 3 days of the tournament. First reason's simple: there's 4 days of play and anything can happen. Secondly, the markets just aren't liquid enough. Now, this is one of the biggest tournaments on the European Tour, but bear in mind this is before it goes live, where the markets really thin out. And even if the player you back shoots a competitive score, his price can only come in so much depending on where he is on the leaderboard. So it's really impossible to gauge what a fair price is. So I kind of treat it like putting pieces of the puzzle together, and you have to let the tournament shape up for at least the first 2 days before assessing where your picks are in relation to the leaders, or if they are leading, how many shots are they leading by, and have they been in this position before, etc, etc. Now, the only time I break my rule set is when it comes to majors, which trade very differently from the rest of the tour events. Majors are on 4 times a year. With the Premier Tour events, you can comfortably expect £1 to £2 million matched, such as this event. But with the lesser tour events, you'll be lucky to get 600k matched. But with majors, you can expect around 10 million, even over that sometimes. So there it's really worth doing a bit of digging and finding some value backs, since you could comfortably get in and out of the market as the prices are a lot more solid Maybe in the future I'll do a video trading a major. But anyway, back to this event. And a couple of things stand out immediately for me before this tournament starts. And that's just how short Rory McIlroy's and Jon Rahm's prices are. So Rory is currently the world number one, and I think he's won this event twice. He has won it twice, in 2012 and 2015. And he's got 4 wins in total in Dubai, and has won 3 events on the PGA Tour already this season, including the Tour Championship on the PGA Tour. And he done so in the most spectacular fashion. I think he was trailing by 5 or 6 strokes final round before taking out the then world number one in Scotty Scheffler. So he's had a hot season. Jon Rahm, on the other hand, he's also won this event twice, but he did so more recently in 2017 and 2019, and he has 1 win to his name this season in Spain. Then thirdly, there's Matt Fitzpatrick, who's also won here and won most recently, doing so in 2020. However, he won a major this season. He won the US Open. So the only reason why he's priced in third is just because he's a little bit lighter on experience, but just as capable. And if we go through the rest of the field, just at a glance, we've got the cream of the cream players in Europe, in the world in fact, here. This field is really stacked. Victor Hovland, Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood, Lee, Tyrrell Hatton, McIntyre, Noren, so many danger men here, all of them capable of winning. And it makes absolutely no sense to back Rory this short, this early. And even if he does play well, it's going to take a lottery-like effort to pull away from the field so early on. Now, a big problem when it comes to betting on Rory is that it's nearly impossible to get any decent value of him so early because he's so overrated by the market. Not as a player, he's a great player, but the market treats him like he's Tiger, who was closing 1 out of every 3 tournaments when he was playing in his pomp. Rory isn't closing tournaments anywhere near that level. So the market does get very carried away on his prices. It was only earlier this season, I remember actually, in a PGA Tour event at the Travelers Championship. I think he was leading by 2 or 3 shots at like the halfway stage, and he was trading at evens, which is just ridiculous. Now, at that price, at that stage of the game, you're sort of in limbo because he's playing really good. You don't want to lay him, but then again, there's so much golf left to play, you don't want to back him either. And lo and behold, he hooks his tee shot into the trees on one hole, makes a double or a triple bogey, and then he doesn't even place top 10 for the tournament. So these things happen often. So you just got to be so careful if you're going to back a player after 1 or 2 rounds. Another great example, by the way, of how overrated he is in the market was during that Open Championship a few years ago, where they played at Royal Portrush for the first time. And that's the course where Rory grew up on and held the course record as a junior. So people were treating that Open Championship as a sort of homecoming, and I think he was like something ridiculous. I think he was trading as short as 9 to 1 or 8 to 1 to win, which is absolutely outrageous, even at a major championship. Anyway, what does he go and do? He double bogeys the first hole, and he doesn't even break 80, and he misses the cut. So the pressure got to him, the pressure of it being his home club. He fired back with a great second round, but it was too little too late. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on, but I hope that gives you an idea as to why I only bet on day 4, because there's just too much left to happen. Markets are illiquid, as you can't trade in and out like you can on a cricket game, especially when you can't watch the individual that you might want to trade. So anyway, let's have a look at how the market shaped up on day 2. Well, would you look at that? McIlroy, he only shot 1 under, and he's trading by 6 strokes already to Matt Fitzpatrick. Now, can you imagine what would have happened if Rory shot 7 under and Fitzy shot 1 under? Rory would probably be at evens by now, or less. Rahm shot -2 and he's still behind Rory's price, so this just confirms my point that there's not much sense in these prices so early on in the game. We just have to wait for the puzzle to come together before taking a position. Okay, now let's jump straight to day 4, which is live. And as I've been rambling on, we've missed a couple holes of action. but I backed John Rahm here, as you can see, at 2.06 around evens, just for a stake, and I've done so for several reasons. One, he's leading, but from watching enough golf, I know that John Rahm is a closer. This guy, when in contention or when leading, he seals the deal. This guy's a real winner, and he thrives under pressure. The market's aware of that, hence why his price is so short, and it could be the same or a little bit short for Rory if he was in a similar situation, and maybe a bit higher for Fitzpatrick. But for any player outside the top 10 or top 20, let's say Noren, Højgaard or Kitayama, if any of these guys were leading by one stroke, they would probably be around 4 or 5 to 1, and Rahm or Rory would probably still be the favorite. They'd probably be around 3 to 1 if they were trading by a shot. So that's how much the odds can change, even with the exact same scoreboard, depending on who's leading. So understanding how much weight and emphasis goes towards certain players will help you understand where the value lies. So for me, it's more of a case of just feel more than science, but it served me well up until now. Anyway, without going off tangent, I've backed Rahm, but only for a stake, because anything can happen early on. You know, if he starts with a string of pars and Rory, Tyrrell or Fitzy start firing birdies in bunches instantly in the opening holes, then Rahm's price is going to get nudged up. So I like to fire in one stake just for the long term, and then raise my average entry potentially with more stakes at better prices. But I'm happy to cut the position if need be for a small loss, because like I said, I'm only in for one stake. Anyway, knowing the kind of player Rahm is, he's started hot, and that's why his price has dropped by around 50 ticks so early on. Now, my strategy personally when it comes to trading golf is to just hammer the price as soon as I think it's a done deal, and that's impossible to do at this stage. So I usually have to wait until the back nine of the final round. That's when things really shape up. So for example, if he's got a 2-shot lead and there's no more big birdie chances down the final stretch, depending on the price, I'll be looking to go big in that situation. But similarly, if he's got, let's say, a 1-shot lead and the 18th is a par 5, and if the group in front, they make birdie or eagle, they could tie or even leapfrog him to the lead if they make an eagle, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on him, since he'll be forced to play aggressively. So that's a situation in which I'll avoid hammering the price, even though he's leading. But yeah, there's so many different scenarios that I could go through, but for sake of time constraints on this video, I'm just giving a brief overview as to what I look for and how I approach trading on day 4. But the point I'm making is, look, the price right now is still sensitive at this point. There's still a lot of golf to be played. There's good players who are breathing down his neck, and it's too early to go in with more stakes. So let's visit this later on and see how it unfolds. Okay, so as you can see here, Rahm's managed to keep his nose in front, and he's got a 2-shot lead coming down the last, so he can bogey it and win. This is the exact stress-free finish that I want and that I sort of expect from a player of his caliber. And as you can see, my liability is significantly higher, despite laying off a bit here at short odds as his price was coming in. And as soon as I felt like there's no way he can lose, I just chased the price down from around 1.5 or 1.6 or whatever it was. There was a little blip in the odds, as you can see here. I think either Fitzpatrick or Rory went on a, sorry, not Rory, I think it was Rory, yeah. Rory went on a rampage with birdies, and that sent the price back up to evens. So yeah, our initial 50 ticks of profit just evaporated in that sort of situation. But Rahm managed to pull away. He finished the day 5 or so under, and yeah, like I said, as soon as I decided it was a done deal with his 2-stroke lead, I just started hammering the price and then just started laying off a bit of liability at around 1.3 and managed to lock in over £200 of profit. So yeah, that's it. Happy days. So this is my setup for trading golf, and currently live streaming with students right now. So open here where I discuss all the positions that I post. So yeah, pressure's on. Okay, so unlike that last tournament I traded, that DP World Tour final a couple of months ago, today I'm going to show you a PGA Tour trade, which by the looks of it is going to trade very differently from the European Tour event. So if you remember my explanation of the last event about how the odds are weighted towards the better players, well, this leader has a 2-shot lead coming into the final round, but he's still at odds of 3.4. John Rahm, he had a 1-shot lead and he was evens. So let's investigate a little. So the leader is Hayden Buckley, and if you're thinking who that guy is, I'm right with you. So let's find out about him. And immediately we can see that he's only been a pro since 2018. So he's also outside the world's top 200 ranking, and he's never won on tour. However, in his first full rookie season last year, he cleared over $1.3 million and had 2 top 10s. So he's a serious contender. And he's already got a top 10 this season in only 6 starts. And if we check his season on the Corn Ferry Tour, which is the satellite tour of the PGA, he finished 10th in the order of merit with a win and a 2nd place and 5 top 10s. So this guy has obviously got a serious game. The only problem is he lacks experience at the highest level, hence the generous price. But with a 2-shot cushion and given what he looks capable of, this is every chance of shortening. So it's not hammer time quite yet. And I'm going to jump in with some half stakes. But if we look at some of the guys lurking around, we've got Chris Kirk, who's a seasoned tour player, though he hasn't won. The real danger man who I should be wary of is Siwoo Kim. This guy's a beast. He's won the crown jewel event on tour, the Players Championship, and he was the youngest ever to do it at 21. I think this was around 5 years ago now. And he's got a couple other wins, and he's in the world's top 50. So this guy is someone to be concerned about. If he makes a couple birdies and starts breathing down the leader's neck, we'll have to consider exiting our positions. So let's see how things unfold. Alright, so we're past the halfway mark in the final round, and the deficit has been reduced to 1, and we're well in profit on this favourite. Now I have a couple of concerns here. First off, this leader who's playing very steady, he's not making birdies, and the danger man Kim is making bunches of birdies, but he's making reckless bogeys too. He just made a 3-putt out of nowhere. So look, he's playing to win. He's going all out, and the leader's just playing too defensively, which is a clear telltale sign of a rookie. And also you can see he's got nerves. Another telltale sign is that his putting, he's just not holding anything. So I've laid off a bit of liability, as you can see, when the price traded below evens. I felt like that was way too short at the time, and in hindsight I should have hedged up all my profits at that price. But this is a very price sensitive situation and it could flip very quickly. So unless this leader starts throwing away shots, I'm not going to panic just yet, especially when my liability is so small. But I am not going to pull the trigger unless this leader pulls away, or if Kim pulls away, or one of them blow up. But at this stage, a playoff could well be on the cards too, so I could even potentially hedge up for evens. But let's see how this final stretch plays out. Okay, so I got completely annihilated on this trade, and this was probably 40% my fault and 60% out of my control. And I know that that's probably difficult to get your head around, but let me explain. Okay, so as I said in the previous video, I look to hammer a price when it's close to a done deal, right? Okay, so check this out. Hayden Buckley was on the 16th hole, and I wish I could put footage up, but it's copyright protected and I'll get flagged. But 16th hole, Hayden, he's trading around 2.3 like you saw at the halfway mark, and Kim was around 4 to 1, 5 to 1. Hayden Buckley holds a putt from like 20 feet. The odds come crashing into around 1.5, and I'm just grabbing whatever price available. And because Kim has hit his tee shot sailing over the green on the next hole, on the 17th, he's got a downhill sliding chip shot from left to right to make up and down. And if he doesn't make up and down, Buckley will then have a 2-shot lead. His price is going to go sub 1.05, and I'm gonna make 200, 250 profit. Second scenario is if Siwoo Kim does make up and down, then Buckley will probably trade around 1.3, so still around 20 ticks of profit. Then the pressure is back on Kim to play the 18th aggressively, so that could encourage some unforced errors. Now there's a third scenario, and it was at the back of my mind, and I am of course aware that it could happen, and that's if Kim holds his chip. And if he does do that, he's tied for the lead. And given how aggressively he's been playing the whole day, he's no doubt going to go for birdie on 18. And if he makes it, all the pressure is going to be on Buckley, who hasn't putted well the whole day, and he's a rookie. And to follow up with a birdie on 18 with that kind of pressure to force a playoff, he's probably going to make some unforced errors. So back to that chip shot on 17, like I said, it's a downhill left to right slider, and I would probably say he's going to hold that 1 in 20 times at best. What's that, 5% tops? What happens? Yeah, he holds it. He holds up the chip. Price on Buckley explodes north above evens. Kim goes favorite. Market settles on Buckley to around 1.65 because he had a reasonably good tee shot on 17, setting himself up for birdie. And as you can see here, I started to lay off some of my liability, which I think was over £700 at the time, but he misses the putt. The odds go back up to 2.5. Kim hits the 18th par 5 green in 2 shots, tap in birdie, and then forces Buckley to go for it. Lo and behold, pressure gets to him. He puts himself out of position on his second shot, can't make up and down, loses the tournament by 1 stroke, and I end up £500 in the hole. Now I wish I turned my camera on after Kim held that chip, so you guys could have seen how violently the price is adjusted and what the situation was, instead of me having to explain it after the market suspended. But my head was all over the shop at the time. The last thing I was thinking about is the camera. But at the end of the day, here it is, my loss, a big fat red. Alright, so that really sucks. I didn't really expect that to happen. You know, like I said, I'd probably give it a 5% chance tops for him to hold it, but he did. And now I've cooled off a little bit. Hindsight's always 20/20, and now I've thought about it. I should have traded out after Buckley's shot on 17 when the price was 1.65. He's been cold with the putter all day. Kim's been making birdies and bunches, and I would have walked away with a 100 or 150 loss, but in the heat of the moment I got attached to my position, and when you do that, you find every justification possible to hold on to it. So I let my heart rule my head, and when you allow that to happen, it's impossible to behave rationally, and I was duly punished. And it really sucks to do that on camera, but at the end of the day, when I decide to record a day's work, I've already made the decision that the video is going up regardless, win or lose. And it's a pain in the backside that I've lost on camera, especially when losses like this are so infrequent. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I lost like that on the golf, but anyway, it's happened. And you know, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Maybe I was supposed to lose, because losses are very much part of what I do. And if I'm uploading videos where I'm always winning, I mean, I can't help it. You know, I can't help it if that's the case. But if I was cherry picking videos, which I very easily could have done, you know, I could have scrapped today and re-recorded next week's session, then it's not going to look genuine. It's just me lying. And the whole point of this day in the life series is to give people a raw, unfiltered look into what I do for a living. You know, it's not like I sit on my computer and make hundreds of pounds of profit every day without ever losing. You know, days like this happen from time to time. You know, I've explained to you guys everything I look for, how I approach the market, and sometimes it doesn't work out, as you saw. So, but providing you trust your edge and you have the discipline not to go chasing it back, and you keep backing value, then you'll be absolutely fine in the long run, as I've been. So I think we'll wrap it up here for today. But I do hope you enjoy these kind of videos. You know, I hope this video has been insightful, not just on the trading front, but with regards to me and
my personal life and a bit of my family history. So I'm back in the UK now for a while, not traveling for a while, I think. So I'll definitely be more consistent again with the uploads. It takes a lot more effort than it looks with all the recording and editing. So if you can support my channel by just giving it a like, a share, a comment, or just give me some feedback or ask me any questions you like, I read and reply most of the time. So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.